Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Taking a look at two systems headed our way. One will bring us some rain this evening through tomorrow morning, and the other one could impact your weekend plans. I'll walk you through both of them.
The father of the girl killed during last year's Raleigh Christmas parade is speaking out about it almost being canceled.
We want to make sure the possibility of anything like this happening again is as limited as possible.
Why he says the city did not reach out to his family when making decisions about this year's parade.
Well, to give you a live look at Gaza this morning, airstrikes have been lighting up that skyline all night. This comes as officials warn people there could lose access to the power supply within hours.
And this morning, House Republicans are expected to vote on who will become the next speaker. We'll explain the proposed rule change that would ensure a candidate has enough support before a floor vote. It is 6 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. You're in the right place to get your day started. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making this part of your routine. Yeah, this is a day where the Hurricanes home opener. We're starting hockey season again. And we have a change in that weather pattern that we've been enjoying this week. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Those clouds rolling in.
Yes, we're going to see more of that during the day today. The moisture that's coming out of the Gulf, which will have a tropical feel, is starting to push into our south. That's going to roll through here overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. And of course, if you are headed out to the hurricanes this evening, we'll talk about what time we may see some of that rain. We'll notice that starting to push in around 5 o'clock. If you're planning to tailgate this evening, you're probably going to be fine. We may not see this first wave actually reaching the ground, but by the time we get into the evening, say 9, 10 o'clock when the game is over, you may wish you had your umbrella coming out of the arena. We're going to see some rain tomorrow morning as well. You can see the scattered showers from Durham southward during the morning hours, but if you're headed to the fair, as the gates open at noon tomorrow, that rain will be out of there. And it looks like that first day of the fair is going to be okay. Here's a live look at downtown Durham right now. We're going to see some high thin clouds this morning, mid 50s. So it's a mild start. We do have some cloud cover out there. So we have the tower lit purple for partly cloudy. 46 in Roxborough, 51 South Hill, but we're looking at mid to upper 50s elsewhere, which is a little warmer than what we saw yesterday. 70 at lunchtime, mid 70s this afternoon. It'll be mostly cloudy. And again, we'll see some evening and overnight showers. We're also going to talk about Saturday's rain. That could have a bigger effect on your outdoor plans. I'll show you coming up. Eric?
Elizabeth, we're continuing to keep a close eye on those sensors out there on the roads, and things are looking pretty good here this morning. Taking a look at your drive times as you're coming in. It's not going to be much of a delay here in the Raleigh area. Everything looking very good. Very similar story for Durham as well. Not seeing a whole lot of folks on the road just yet. Again, we're going to keep a close eye on conditions here, bringing updates as that changes.
The father of Haley Brooks, the 11-year-old killed during the Raleigh Christmas parade last year, is calling out the mayor. This comes after the event was nearly canceled this year. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us now. Kelsey, the message her father had for city council members, what was he trying to get across to them?
Jeff, good morning. Well, Haley's dad says that he was hurt and offended by how all of this played out. And it's quiet here this morning on Fayetteville Street. But just in a little bit over a month, this place will be packed as people will gather for the city's 79th annual Christmas parade that was almost canceled. Last year, 11-year-old Haley Brooks was killed after she was struck by a pickup truck when she was in the parade. Her dad, Trey Brooks, spoke to city leaders last night, calling out Mayor Marianne Baldwin for initially canceling this year's parade. The mayor said they were canceling the event out of respect for Haley and her family, but Brooks claims the city didn't contact the family about their decision.
And instead of doing what it takes to keep the children of this community safe, you simply denied the permit and canceled the parade. And then you tried to point to my family as a cause of the cancellation, which could not be further from the truth.
And Brooks is also calling for better safety measures as we go into this year's parade. And after the meeting, the mayor said that she was sorry for his loss and thanked him for his courage to speak. She says that golf carts and horses will be allowed now that the parade is back on for November 18th, but cars and floats still won't be allowed. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh. One person is in the hospital after a collision that shut down lanes on I-540 for more than an hour overnight. Police say it was because of a wrong-way driver. Brett Neese drove the WRAL Breaking News Tracker to the scene.
This head-on crash happened between Lumley Road and Aviation Parkway on the westbound side of I-540. Take a look at all the damage to one of the cars involved in this crash. This is new video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Police tell me somebody was driving the wrong way on I-540 West when this crash happened just after 3 this morning. The driver of the car traveling the right way had to go to the hospital, but is expected to recover. Police say alcohol is likely a factor, but they are working to confirm that. They say this is still an ongoing investigation. Tow trucks showed up just before 4:30 this morning to remove these cars and reopen all westbound lanes of 540. In Raleigh, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
A fire at an apartment complex in Fayetteville has displaced several people. Firefighters were called to the Summit Apartments on North Street around 11:30 last night. When they got there, they found a 2-story apartment building on fire, flames shooting out of the roof. They were able to get the people out of that building. No one was injured. The American Red Cross will be helping those who lost their homes in the fire.
Now to the war in Israel. Overnight, Israeli warplanes hit neighborhoods in Gaza as retaliation for the weekend attack by Hamas militants. This is a live look right now. The UN says more than 260,000 people in Gaza have been displaced, and power supply there will be cut off within hours. American Airlines is suspending all flights to Israel through December 4th. The death toll on both sides has soared to over 1,500, with at least 11 Americans among the dead. More than 2,600 have been injured.
Last night, the first plane carrying U.S. weapons landed in Israel. This comes after President Joe Biden said during a speech yesterday he intends to ask Congress to approve more funding for Israel. He promised his administration would not allow that country to run out of ammunition.
Today, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will travel to Israel to meet with leaders there. The State Department says Blinken will share a message of support and solidarity and will listen to Israeli leaders about the ongoing battle. The department also says Blinken will discuss measures to improve Israel's security.
The mayoral race in Durham is down to 2 people for next month's general election. Current City Council member Leonardo Williams and current State Senator Mike Woodard will square off November 7th. 98% of the precincts are now reporting, and Williams got 51% of the votes. Woodard got 29%. Williams or Woodard will replace outgoing Mayor Elaine O'Neill, who announced in June she would not be running for re-election. Last night, we went to both of their watch parties and talked with them about what their plans would be to deal with the issues that Durham residents say are important.
We got to make sure that we're leading a culture that is embracing of all of the resources we have available. Our kids have to be so involved, so engaged, or working that they're too bored to get in trouble. And my goal is to be the drum major of this culture change, this course correction.
We've got to make sure that our police department's fully staffed. We have 160 vacancies in our police department now.
12 people are on the ballot for 3 at-large seats as well, and 6 of them will move on. The current front-runners, starting with the most votes, Nate Baker, Javier Caballero, and Carl Rist, Khalila Karim, Sheila Ann Huggins, and Monique Holsey-Hyman.
In Fayetteville, people cast their votes for who will be on the ballot for mayor. WRAL called the race before 11 last night. Incumbent Mitch Colvin took more than 60% of the vote. He and Freddie De La Cruz will move on to the general election. House Republicans are set to vote today to choose the next speaker. There's a proposed rule change that would ensure a candidate has enough support to take the gavel before a floor vote. That's after it took 15 rounds to elect the previous speaker, Kevin McCarthy. 2 men are vying for the speaker's job as a government shutdown nears. Representative Jim Jordan proposes a long-term funding bill with spending cuts, while House Majority Leader Steve Scalise says he wants to get Senate Democrats to negotiate. It's unclear if either candidate has enough support to get elected.
New developments are emerging more than 24 hours after police say a father prompted a statewide Amber Alert. This morning, the child's mother is sharing her side of what happened after the father was arrested for taking that girl. Her 4-year-old daughter, Paisley, was abducted by her father, Mitchell Grayson, from a Durham apartment Saturday. Police say he also assaulted an adult in the process. WRAL's Sarah Kruger spoke with Candace Oldham. Oldham says Grayson has a history of violence and hopes he can one day be in their daughter's life, but not until he gets help.
I want people to understand that if that's not the way you go about getting your child in the first place, there's a certain way to do it, and it's not choosing violence or hurting people.
Grayson made his first court appearance yesterday. He was given a $25,000 bond. Paisley was found safe and is back home this morning.
Hockey fans have been looking forward to this. Tonight, the Carolina Hurricane sirens will sound at PNC Arena as the Canes hold their home and season opener. They will face off against the Ottawa Senators as the marathon fight for the Stanley Cup starts. The team will lean heavily on coach Rod Brind'Amour after the team's fifth straight trip to the playoffs ended in defeat in the Eastern Conference Finals. You can look for live team coverage on WRAL before and after the game. The puck drops at 7 p.m.
All right, it's Wednesday. We're doing it again. Powerball in play tonight. The second largest jackpot in the game's history is up for grabs. As of right now, it's more than $1.7 billion. No one has been able to match all the numbers for more than 11 weeks in a row now. If you get lucky, you could take home that nearly $760 million cash prize. Tune in tonight to watch the live drawing right here on WRAL.
A Fayetteville police officer is under investigation by his department and the FBI. Coming up, the charges he's facing after someone submitted an anonymous tip.
Also, major upgrades coming to RDU International, where you're looking live right now. How the $500 million project will make traveling smoother for passengers and pilots.
And we take a look at our rain chances. Late today, we're going to see some light sprinkles. That rain continues overnight tonight, and we'll likely see it for the morning commute. I'll walk you through the timeline on Futurecast coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13, we take a live look at Goldsboro this morning. We do have some high, thin cloud cover that's starting to work its way in. It'll be cloudy by late this afternoon. A few scattered showers this evening, overnight, and into tomorrow morning. We're going to walk through all that coming up with Futurecast. You don't need your umbrella this morning. Temperatures are feeling mild in the mid-50s, at least compared to what we saw earlier in the week. We're likely to see, by the evening commute, a few light showers. And tomorrow morning is probably going to be on the wet side as folks are headed out. But if you're out the door for exercise this morning, it's absolutely fine. Temperatures are a little bit warmer than they were this time yesterday. Lunchtime 70, we'll see a high of 74. It's not likely to be until the evening before we start to see some sprinkles. So if you have exercise plans right after work, it looks on the dry side. Eric?
Roads out here, 6:14 a.m. You can still see a lot of green on the map there at this point. Drive times looking good at this point. Traffic moving very smoothly. Not seeing a whole lot of folks on the road here, but of course that's going to change as that morning commute ramps up. Keep a very close eye on things, Renee. Of course, you know it always gets busy a little bit later.
It certainly does. We'll check back in with you a little bit later, Eric. Thank you. He's usually the one making arrests, but now he's on the other side of the law. This morning, a Fayetteville police officer is facing charges accused of being involved with illegal drugs. He's 23-year-old Aziel Gear Johnson. Fayetteville Chief of Police Kim Braden says the list of charges stem from an investigation that was launched following an anonymous tip. It came in last Friday. Gear Johnson is now on administrative leave with pay pending the investigation. He was sworn in as an officer in June 2022.
Happening today, ECU Hillel is holding a prayer vigil for Israel amid the ongoing war. Students, faculty, and community plan to come together to show support and pray for peace and healing. This event is hosted by the school's Jewish organization, and it's happening in the Ladonia Wright Cultural Center.
The U.S. Coast Guard says it has recovered the final remains of the Ocean Gate Titan submersible. The submersible imploded back in June in the North Atlantic. It was heading to the Titanic wreckage when it imploded, killing all 5 passengers. The agency says it has also recovered presumed human remains. All the evidence will be analyzed, and then the agency will hold a joint review with the National Transportation Safety Board.
Big changes are taking off at RDU. This is a live look outside the airport, Terminal 2. You see one taking off right now. The FAA has given the green light for the airport to begin construction on replacing its primary runway. RDU's president and CEO says this will be the most important 2 miles of pavement in the triangle. The change will make the runway longer, and it'll be built about 500 feet from the current one. This way, it'll be able to operate during construction. The move will also make room for the future of more gates at Terminal 2. And the project is expected to cost more than $500 million and will be completed by 2028.
And happening right now in the WRAL Life Center, the Federal Trade Commission has come out this morning and saying they are proposing a new rule that would ban hidden fees. So this is what we mean by those hidden fees. It would make clearer when extra fees are being charged at things like hotels and live ticket events. It would also bar businesses from using hidden fees or charges that the FTC are calling bogus fees. It prohibits businesses from advertising prices that leave out those mandatory fees as well. But it would not stop a company from adding fees, and it would not limit what they could charge.
Michelle, thanks. The North Carolina State Fair starts tomorrow, and today the final preparations are going to be focused on food. The Wake County Environmental and Health Safety Division will be at the fairgrounds to inspect food vendors. There are some new foods to check out this year, including a jerk barbecue chicken mac bowl. Ken Smith really loves that one. Brisket and waffles on a stick, and strawberry cheesecake slush. You can see the full list on WRAL.com. The State Fair, again, begins tomorrow. It runs through October 22nd.
One of each, please, for research purposes. Hey, people who are visiting Fayetteville or live there are invited to do their part in keeping the city clean. Volunteers can now register for the Fall Fayetteville Beautiful event, November 11th. Hundreds participated in previous events, picking up litter along public streets and at local parks. To sign up, you can go to FayettevilleBeautiful.com.
We are falling for fall with these comfortable temperatures, but change is coming and rain is as well. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking it all for us in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
When the sun comes up here on these cameras, we're going to start to see some high, thin cloud cover, but it's going to stay dry for most of the day. It's likely to be after or right around the time of the evening commute that we begin to see a few sprinkles, especially in our southern counties. We take a live look at Apex, Goldsboro, Fayetteville, or Durham, and then Chapel Hill here, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. We do have some tropical moisture that's going to start to push up into our area. All this coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, beginning to push into Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and eventually up into our area much later today. We'll walk through Futurecast and take a look at when we could see some of this. We're going to see a brief high pressure system building in. Once that moves out, around 5 o'clock, we could see some patchy showers around the Triangle area and then down to the south. As the evening wears on, we're going to see more of this lifting northward. By 9 or 10 o'clock, we may see that rain becoming a little steadier around Raleigh, and then early in the morning tomorrow, say 8 o'clock, Durham to Rocky Mount to Raleigh, likely to be on the wet side, and then of course everybody down to the south as well. And then everything moves on by. Of course, the gates open at the State Fair at noon tomorrow, and the rain will be over by that point. It could affect if you're headed to the Canes game tonight, as you're coming out of the arena, it may be a little bit on the wet side. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. We take a look at the next system, a completely different front that rolls through on Saturday. We've been tracking this one for a few days. It looks like showers are still possible. At this point, it doesn't look like we'll see a line of thunderstorms with this, and our potential for rain is beginning to back off a little bit, which is great news if you're planning to head to the fair or football games or whatever you had planned for Saturday. We take a look at Futurecast. This is our Gulf system that arrives here later on tonight. It's likely to produce a lot of rain for parts of Florida, Georgia, even southern South Carolina. The amounts that we see will be fairly light as it sort of grazes past North Carolina. Then we'll have a break on Friday, and then our Saturday system comes on in with a chance of some scattered showers during the day. It pulls out, and Sunday is dry. If you're looking to be outside, we may see some cloud cover, but it looks like we'll see some dry conditions. So a 50% chance of some showers early tomorrow morning, a 40% chance on Saturday, and then we're dry on Sunday. So the first 3 days of the fair look like this. By the time the gates open tomorrow, we'll see partly cloudy skies, 77 degrees. We'll see a break in the rain on Friday, 78, and then Saturday, if you're headed to the fair, you want to take along your rain jacket, your raincoat, just to be safe. Once Saturday's front comes through, it's also going to cool down. Sunday looks like it'll be mainly cloudy, but 69. A chance of some showers on Monday. And then look at that. Tuesday's high, just 63 degrees. Eric, it is that time of year where you really have to watch the 7-day forecast closely. It is up and down.
Absolutely. And you know, the message I'm getting from that forecast right there is maybe play hooky from work the next 2 days and go to the State Fair on Thursday and Friday.
I love that idea. Actually, we get to go to the State Fair and not play hooky from work, which is even even better.
Yeah. Well, turning now to traffic, we do have a crash to tell you about. This is popping up down at I-40 westbound and NC-42 down here outside of Clayton. You can see that is causing some backup. Sensors picking that up right there on NC-42. That might add a couple of minutes to your drive if you're coming in that way. Otherwise, looking across the region as a whole, things looking pretty good. Taking a live look out there at I-440 at New Bern Avenue. A couple of cars on the road, but nothing too major at this point. Of course, we'll keep a close eye on things here, bring you updates as that changes.
Thanks, Eric. She's not going anywhere yet, but Vanna White already has her replacement in mind, who she says has the charisma to take her Wheel of Fortune role. Coming up in What's Trending.
Hey guys, coming up this morning, I have a raw, honest, open interview with Jada Pinkett Smith. Her new book is out. It is called Worthy. There are some revelations in that book that will shock you and surprise you like they shocked and surprised me. Please tune in and see the interview. We'll see you then.
And here's a look at the winning lottery numbers. We'll be back with What's Trending.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Time now for a look at what's trending. Vanna White says she has the perfect replacement in mind when her day comes to step aside.
Yeah, her contract was just extended for another 2 years, but she says that co-host Pat Sajak's daughter, Maggie, would be great for her job. In an interview, White says she's been around it her whole life, so I think she can fill in for me for sure. White added that Pat Sajak's charm has certainly rubbed off on his 28-year-old daughter. In June, Sajak announced he would be leaving the show after over 4 decades. He'll be replaced by Ryan Seacrest.
Yes, big changes are coming, no doubt, with the addition of Ryan Seacrest. 41 years they've been doing this, and Van will be around for a little while longer. But yeah, she's saying, let's keep it in the family. Let's go with Sajak's daughter. I saw that they had Teacher Week recently and used Vanna was out with COVID, and they used a teacher to replace her. So, it's a fantastic tradition that'll keep it on in the family.
Yeah, like father, like daughter, perhaps.
It looks like it. We now know the winner of the 2023 Fat Bear Week contest in Alaska's Katmai National Park. 128 Grazer takes home the win this year with over 108,000 votes. National Park Service officials say she's a defensive mama bear who has successfully raised 2 litters of cubs.
Look at that bodacious bod. It blew her final competitor out of the water. 32 Chunk was the other finalist, but Grazer here is the 3rd ever female bear to win this contest, and all the bears, though, are winners for packing on the pounds, feeding off the salmon, and fattening up for winter.
It's a lot of salmon upstream, grabbing them all.
In Alaska. Well, the Texas Rangers completed an American League Division Series sweep of the Baltimore Orioles with a 7-1 victory last night. This means the Rangers are going to the American League Championship Series for the first time since 2011. The Rangers will now wait to see if they will be going to Houston or Minnesota for Game 1 of the Championship Series on Sunday.
The 79th annual Raleigh Christmas Parade is going to be on in just over a month. Just ahead, how the father of an 11-year-old girl who was killed at last year's parade is speaking out and calling for more safety measures.
And we have a live look in Gaza right now, where the death toll continues to rise as the war between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas continues.
It's a dry start this morning, but this evening we're going to see some showers rolling through. I'll walk you through the timeline of Futurecast and show you how long that may continue into tomorrow morning.